All right. I think it's time let's go. Um, Hi. So, by way of introduction, my name is Jason. I thank you for joining me or watching the replay on this. A couple of things here. I'll adjust that. So, my name is Jason. I do work in the developer experience space. So, that is exactly what this is all about. Um, a couple of things about code of conduct. If you do tune in live and have any comments or anything, or if you're watching afterwards, please be kind, not just to me, but also to the things I'm looking at. So, the purpose of the show is that I will be reviewing something I haven't used before, and we'll see how that goes. It might go great, and I would like to call out the things that are done very well because I think we should emulate them in anything that we work on. But there might be some rough patches as well. It is hard to get something perfect, and everyone comes with a very unique experience. So there might be some places where maybe I'll say something that could be perceived as criticism, but I just want to say, it's with heart, that being a little bit more growth oriented. If something's not working, it's really just a lesson and an opportunity to say, hey, this is an area that could be improved. It impacted me. Maybe it doesn't impact other people, but that something like that is something that we can learn from in anything else we are building. And that's because having a really good developer experience is hard work. It requires a lot of details. You have to make a lot of assumptions about the different experience level and things that people have coming into using something. I'm also going to say that learning takes effort. So I maybe have worked in the industry for quite some time in various different roles, but learning takes effort. And I'm going to look at an application, and there's going to be parts of it that it's just I haven't used a particular tool set before. It might be a little bit more of a stretch, as there might be other tools I have used similar tools before, so it's a very easy onboarding as a result. So I think that also plays a factor into what any individual person's experience may be. Um, so taking a step back and just giving introducing a concept here, I do want to mention, and I've introduced some ideas like this from each of the shows and kind of rotating around a couple of key points. This one actually was one of the early ones, and I just wanted to call attention to it again. It's this notion of customer zero testing. And really, it's about improving adoptability of a tool, regardless of how you're doing it, whether it's a developer relations team, solutions engineering team, any developer program engineering team, any number of different types of roles. But really, it's about how do you improve adoptability for technical people to use a product. It's not great to just throw something out there in production and gather feedback, or I mean, that can be important to go to market first, but you might also effectively burn some bridges if you do that. If something is so bad or doesn't work, it is really hard to convince those people to come back again, unless you have someone that really becomes a testimonial. So the point of customer zero is not quality control per se. It's really about testing an end-to-end experience, right? All the documentation in place. Is there a dashboard that lets you control and see what's going on, is appropriate level of UI kits. It might be a sample app that demonstrates how to build thing and put it all together. Lots of different elements. And so when we're talking about customer zero, it's not about quality control. It's about the whole experience end to end and whether or not you can find someone that does that audit for you. So the spirit of it is that any quality QA or QC team probably knows a lot about the product, so they're going to test, does this do the thing it was supposed to do? Where customer zero is really saying, okay, let's put this through the paces of what the end user will actually be trying to build, right? Like it's one thing to do a unit test on some element of a JavaScript library. As a very different thing to say, hey, can I actually integrate this into Angular or Vue or React and start using it to build something while I'm using this other UI kit and various interactions that might be created as a result of that. And so some of those types of tests become very unexpected. And so the idea is you do want to mirror what you think a lot of the people, whatever you're building, will do. in those types of tests. But you can kind of set up that scenario to say like, hey, let's go ahead and test it under these conditions. Um, and in an ideal world, by going through that process or having someone do it on it, that actually creates learning resources as well. That right, that's where blog posts come from. That's where tutorials come from. So there usually is not just do you end up in a place that's more confident about the product meeting its goals, but you might also get some side effects out of that experience that you can use as sample projects and things like that. So that's all important. Anyways, each of the show, what you're seeing is me basically doing a customer zero or a little bit of a technical audit of some product that is probably, I'm evaluating it as part of something I'm working on, not necessarily part of the day job, but something just also to be familiar with different tools. My goal is typically around 3:30 Pacific, but sometimes I have other commitments. So apologies. I'm not running this like a webinar with a very scheduled time and an email list or anything like that. I am doing this very informally, partially because I just want the recording as well, so I can go back and refer to it or cut clips and take notes, screenshots, and those sorts of things. So my hope is that you might want to tune in live and ask questions and or have comments. I can actually bring on people onto the show and things like that as well. But I have often had the reputation of being really good at documenting projects I've worked on, both from a planning requirements definition, but also from in inline source code comments as well as tutorials and guides. And I often joke is that usually I'm good at it because I'm doing it for myself because I'm going to forget. So I write it all down. So suddenly, yeah, I have blog posts, I have tutorials and things like that because a lot of times I'm doing it for me, not you. Um, Similar to this, right? I hope other people enjoy it as well, but generally I am doing it for me rather than you, as selfish as that may sound. So anyway, there is a website, developerxp.com. I do occasionally update that with the show schedule, although of course I have bigger plans for what's going on there. But for now, let's go take a look at a new product today. So I'm going to quit out of that. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So today I do, if I recall, am looking at PostHog. I should probably go check the website, but I know I've had to, actually had a cold and some other things recently. So I was not feeling great and had to reschedule some things. So anyways, PostHog. Open source product OS. Wait, is that what I'm thinking of? All-in-one platform for building better products, product analytics, feature flags, session recordings, A/B testing, heat maps. Yes, this is the one I am thinking of. So I often think it's important to kind of do this search, right? If you're working on something, whether it's open source project, enterprise focused or self-service, whatever, seeing how things show up on a regular basis in search results can be very important. It might highlight where competitors are trying to say, hey, oh, you're searching for one of my competitors, here's try me instead. But sometimes I will go and just scan through here to see what else turns up that I might want to start with as opposed to the official source. Because the presence of videos is a good signal to me that, hey, people are using it and willing to talk about it, and or the company itself is producing that type of content. If I were interested in video as a learning mechanism, sometimes I am, but it very much depends. And this might be a good example where videos would be handy because I expect a lot of this being a little bit more of a SaaS as opposed to pure developer play. Like, wow, I might want to use the API to ingest data and or extract data. I expect, based on the class of problem this is, that the user interface becomes very important. And video is often a very good way of explaining that as opposed to documentation. So anyways, there is a GitHub, so that does suggest some technical details and samples, especially if it's open source. So well, let's see what we got. Okay, so I'm going to go to the website. Doesn't use third-party cookies. Okay. That's actually, I have to appreciate the creativity of this one, so thank you for that. All right. PostHog, how engineers build better products. So immediately in this class of tools, this one for me is speaking very clearly that probably the target audience. Getting started for free is nice. Getting a demo, I don't want to book a demo yet. Maybe I do at some point if I still am trying to learn about it, but generally I don't ever really think about starting in that mindset. Um, I kind of like what they've done here from a product website standpoint. I don't always, go to the .com as a, I usually at least give it a cursory scan to like sort of give me a frame of reference. But product analytics, web analytics, session replay, feature flags, A/B testing, surveys, and collecting and processing data. Um, that is a affirmation of I don't have to actually go to the menu to see the features or products. This actually gives me a very nice quick summary. um, Also, again, nice job with the animations. I do feel like the design here is actually pretty fun, for what it's worth. It's already given me a really good impression. um, the inevitable customer carousel, lots of, at least names here, some well known. So that's always a good validation. Again, kudos to the designer for this website. But 8+ products all in one. Okay, that's actually great. Maybe that's why I like this strip here. Is it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I don't have to use a collection of things. Maybe this does actually solve a lot of problems for me. Code examples also super important. I want to know what it looks like and how I'm going to use it. Um, Product OS sounds very ambitious, but I'm okay with that. Session replay. This seems like the okay. So I can switch between these to get different code samples. Again, this is speaking to me as someone who's thinking about the technical implementation. That this feels like it fits my model as opposed to I'm ready to sign $1 million contract because I have tons of websites and things like that. This is feels like something I might be able to use. Oh, this is kind of clever. It's kind of a within each one there's different examples. Okay. um, Tutorials. Community members use PostHog in ways. um, cool. um, yep. Hate PostHog if jumping on a quick call with sales. As I've already said, I'm not interested in doing that. But a recorded demo. Um, huh. I also would I appreciate this because a lot of those calls. I mean, obviously, it's about the sales team learning more about my use case, right? So in some ways, it's using in a traditional product model, using my time to feed their database, which doesn't give a good service to me. It's possible to ask reasonable questions about what my use case is to give me a more tailored experience. But in my experience, a lot of those conversations end up just me talking about my revenue and how does my amount of revenue really help me use a product. I don't think it does. It just basically tells them whether or not they're going to spend any more time talking to me. So, anyways, that's why I'd say talking to someone is usually something I'm not looking for. Um, I find this a clever way of going about it too, and saying here are the things that you're not. That should be done a lot more. But again, I do like the graphics and everything. Very cool. Um, Build it on an API, explore the API, query language, community, customer data. Oh, wow. Is this a public roadmap as well, right on the main page? That's actually, I love the transparency. I, I I have a weird reaction, like, and this is a good example of making a very positive impression. everything I've seen on this page is giving me maybe I'm just in a really good mood, but like it's giving me a really good impression of what they're doing here. And so I say that because that sentiment is going to carry forward as I try to start using this, where even if something goes wrong, because of how they're approaching things like this and the public roadmap and the very clear approach and everything, that increases my tolerance for friction or problems. Um, let's see, explore the roadmap. Okay, does that mean I get to? Kind of curious. I can vote on GitHub. Also, very, very cool. Okay. Um, this is funny. Thank you for this. I do like that. This is the call to auction. uh, uh, this is actually pretty good. I like it. Um, I don't know. I've done a couple of these. It's not too often I smile at the main website, so I'm really impressed. I guess I just clicked get started. I'm going to go back and try to start using this a little bit, but pricing, it is important. I do have to look at it a little bit to know what we're talking about in terms of commitment. So it does look like pay as you go. There's not like a monthly fee, so that's appreciated as well. That means when I'm small and no one cares about my product, it doesn't cost me a lot. When everybody loves my product and is paying me money, I can share the wealth with PostHog. I don't know, that's the way I feel like it should be anyway. Um, Yeah, and it seems like, actually the free tier is actually pretty generous too. To make sure I can get it incorporated and um, build with it. So yeah, everything's looking good here. Okay. And I see they have docs and community and all those sorts of things as well. So let's see what the sign up process is like, and then see if I can use it in a very simple site. So, oh wait, yep. I guess I gotta pick a password. I always hate when I haven't opened this yet. All right, let's see. I'm for what it's worth, off screen. I'm opening up my password manager, creating an entry, and generating a password for this site. That's what I'm doing. I don't know. Maybe you have a better way of doing it. I mean, I know there are other tools out there. This way feels a little um, like an older way, but I'm comfortable with it. So, anyways, I have my password. I'm going to sign up. I don't mind. Um, all right. They are going to roll. Again, this is, we'll go this way. How did I hear about PostHog? Um, it's a great question. I think I might have actually been looking at another website and then clicked view source, and I noticed they were using PostHog to do some analytics. Um, I forget which website it was, but yeah, I actually saw it in use somewhere, and then that's when I was like, "Hey, oh, this is something in this a category of a tool I'm interested in." I don't know that I'd call that a referral though, but it was still a proof point for me. And that's why a lot of companies do branding and stuff like that. All right. Um, so I am gonna take this off screen real quick and see what the email looks like. It's just a verify, nothing too fancy. Um, I always wonder, how people instrument that sometimes too. But anyways, I'm going to verify my email address. Got a nice little success animation, and we're back in. So pick your first product to get started. Um, I'm tempted to start with a survey, but that's not really, and, my leaning there was, yeah, let's start with, I'm between analytics and feature flags. Let's go ahead and do the analytics first because I feel like I want to get data. So again, I mentioned I have developerxp.com with a schedule there. It's not like I'm getting a lot of traffic or anything, but I do want to see. I have Google Tag Manager set up there, so I'm kind of curious maybe if this gives me just the same, if not more insight. So it looks like I am going through some automation in terms of building. Where are you collecting events from? Pick one or two. Um, uh, Web, JavaScript. Okay, integrate PostHog with that. I will go ahead and open up the docs. I'll come back to it later, and this is a good way of evaluating as well, right? I do want to know how good the docs are and whether or not it solves my problem, and how well organized they are. So I'll take a little bit of time to maybe do an analysis of that. But um, I got a code. Okay, option one, code snippet. Just add the snippet to your website in the head tag, and you'll be ready to start using. Good to know. Gets my key and everything. Or I can do that. Um, okay, so I'm gonna go grab my IDE. Where is it? There we are. I might have to close some things. Um, all right, there's nothing here I can't show. So just gotta, yeah, I actually, okay, let's go ahead and make directory for PostHog. I'm gonna move this. Sorry, that was a past show. Um, all right, sorry. Just a few things I had to do there. So let's go ahead and get into PostHog, and then uh, actually, maybe I'll go ahead and add it to developerxp.com for now. Um, maybe that's, I usually like a separate website. Yeah, before incorporating into my main project, I do want to try it somewhere else. So let us go ahead and let me check and start a new project. I have been using Svelte quite a bit lately, so that is what I'm going to do. Looks like I have to update. Just doing a skeleton project. TypeScript is fine. I'm not going to add anything else. Okay. Going to get into my app. PM install. I'm not going to do anything fancy here yet. Maybe I will, if I get to feature flags, we can maybe do something real quick. But first, I'll make sure I can actually get traffic. Seems like a reasonable place to start. All right, so what do we got? I'm going to go into routes. And so basically, actually, I'm going to have to modify this a little bit. Oops. What was it I was supposed to paste? Okay, so I'm supposed to include this snippet. So I may not do what I was just about to do. I'm not going to put it in the component. I'll go into this area here, and it said in the head, right? Yeah. within the head tag. Yep. Let's put it after the viewport because I want this on every page anyway. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then I guess that should be it, right? I should be able to come over here and do an mpn run dev. Okay, so I've visited this page. Let's go back to this onboarding and see what it says. Okay, so I have integrated it, presumably. I could maybe do something like that. Send my first. This is actually a curiosity to me, just out of whether or not sending the first event was part of the JavaScript library as opposed to something else. So I'm going to go ahead and include it here for a second. Instead of my event, I'm going to say dev environment or something like that. Or let's go. How about that? I should probably punctuation, right? Okay. Let's hit the continue button and see. So it's listening for events. Oh. Set up your configuration. If you use our JavaScript React Native libraries, we'll automatically capture front-end interactions like page views, clicks, and more. Fine-tune what you capture in the code snippet. Okay. Yep. So this is telling me more about the pricing. This is actually, in terms of an onboarding experience, I'd say this is actually rather smart. It's not obtrusive to me, but it is. If I hadn't already looked at pricing, this is kind of reminding me like, hey, you're on free. You can continue going this way, or if you want to upgrade and add your credit card now, you can. I'm going to skip for now, but this does give me an opportunity. Like if I was, ready to go, it is the right time to make that commitment, or to remind me of that commitment. So as I feel like a well done way of doing it, I've actually, yeah, I guess maybe the only caveat there is I haven't actually seen that the event is received. It suggested it was, but I haven't really seen it for sure. So anyways, product analytics pairs with da 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 da. I'm not going to add anything else yet. I'm not, this is a nice marketing technique and sharing with other people. I'm not going to do that either. But this suggests, can I, I'll have to go back and look at pricing. Can I add more people to my project? Like, is there a limit on seats or something like that? But I'm going to ignore that. Okay. So here we are. Yeah, inviting team for free. Okay. Web Analytics is opt-in beta. Okay, I might end up doing that if I have something valuable. Like I said, no page leave. Events have been received. Okay, so, and that's because I'm here. Uh-oh, now I got an error. I guess maybe that makes sense because I just dumped that event thing there in the code, so which is wrong. Although it does suggest this question of what is the right way to do it in a Svelte environment. I might have to come back at that in a second. But once again, I want to know. So maybe I need to go do the session replay just so I can see if it was working for me. Now this is a nice layout of their dashboard, right? Like, I can close this presumably or resize it, but it does suggest I can go back to this quick start at some point. Or I can go and look at, the doc's right in. Is this like a mobile version of it or something? Is that I do like this. Whoever built this site, I mean, it's actually really well thought out, well designed. Hmm, I like this quite a bit. Wonder what notebooks? Scratchpad. Uh, this is surprising, but I still can appreciate it because I could maybe. It means I don't have to go to another tool if I'm like copying something in between screens. It's actually reasonable. Maybe instead of calling it a notebook, it could have been oops, called like a scratch pad or um, just a clipboard kind of thing. But that does, in some ways, actually support how you might be interacting with this dashboard. It might be something I don't need, but it's still. I like this. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting distracted by some of the little details here, but so I'm still in this place where I don't have um, data. I am running on a dev server. I didn't deploy it, so maybe that's why, or there's a delay, right? Like there could be some delay. Um, it says I got my first event though. Hmm, not really seeing what I'm looking for here. Let's go take a look at session replays though. Have I get more? Um, can I go back and there was this, okay, set up session recordings. Let's go maybe give that a try. Oh, all right. So, this gets back to the sometimes little details are easy to get wrong. I would have expected this to take me somewhere. Okay. Session recordings are currently disabled, so I can hit configure. So now it's the settings. These settings only apply to the current project. Record user sessions. Sure. Okay. It needs to have the snippet, which it does. Capture console logs, network performance, authorized domains becomes important because that clearly that key is client side. So I would probably want to lock it down to my domain so no one else can use it or ingest data into my system. So I think that's an important thing. It's interesting, quick start. It's not a quick start thing, but I would love to see sites have not just a quick start, but then the here's what you need before going to production kind of distinction. Because I've seen some people try to make their quick start include, set up your security first, because people never go back and do that. But maybe if there was like a checklist of here are the things you really need to do. Although I seem to have lost where I was in the session. Let's see. Anyways, step one, install the library, enable session recordings. Maybe I have to go back here. If I go to session replay, how do I open the settings from this? I mean, I guess down here, maybe. Session replay. Yeah, this is the stuff that I saw in the sidebar. So in some ways, maybe that's, anyways, yeah, the settings over here might have been nice. And I guess it is still. So I can go look there while looking at the session replay here. Okay. I don't need to capture headers, body, authorized domains, ingestion control, so on and so forth. Okay, so let's come over here, replay. What if I just highlight, I hit the website and go here. So if I come over here, does that show up at some point? Um, how are things going? Oh, okay. Maybe data. Wait, no, that's created. I I still am trying to verify that the data is being ingested. Um, and it says it was computed a few seconds ago. I can't refresh for 3 minutes. Is that the time period for data to show up here? It may also be the case it's just anything localhost is skipped, which is not unreasonable. Okay. All right. This is a good verification for me right here. Right. Like you could see what I did, highlighted, clicked. I'm aware of some other tools and I've used to do this, but it's pretty nice. What else can I find out about this? You can see user agent details, what the URL was, which was the local host, resolution, and then does this give me like the full like APM, like application performance monitoring type of functionality? Yeah. So these are the events, errors, everything. Yeah, what's happened in the console? I don't know that anything did happen in the console, so that's probably fine. The network. Okay. Because that could be interesting as well. If this aggregates statistics around page load time, so this becomes a whole APM tool as well. This, kudos to this team. I was successful in relatively short time creating my account. Onboarding experience was smooth. The communication of information clear. I was able to get results. I do find it interesting. I don't see, um, the product analytics like the page views yet or anything like that. Oh, here we go. So something might have been weird in terms of. Oh wait, this is a time series. That's not actually what I was looking for anyway. Um, I really wish I could have seen one match here, um, but that's okay. The fact that I saw the session replay really reaffirmed that everything is working properly. So obviously, there's a lot more I have to explore to get to know this dashboard and everything, and then try to evaluate it a little bit further on real project here. But so far, that was a very smooth onboarding. Like it. Um, the documentation looks pretty good as well. I didn't go through it too much, but it seems rather sensibly organized. I guess I didn't verify how I would use the event, but that's more of a svelte, thing and scoping and making sure I have access to the PostHog object. So I'll go fix that. And it shouldn't be a big deal. Although I could maybe do a search here and just see how to set up Svelte analytics feature flags and more. So, okay, so they actually have a whole tutorial section, and are all written as how-tos. Kudos again. I really like what. Yeah, again, it's super cool what they're doing here. Yeah, this is actually talking about setting up a blog. I'm going to skip it over that. That's not really my interest per se. I was just kind of curious how they've done it. um, in terms of the PostHog integration. So I'm just sort of, here it is, importing it. There's the init. So that's the npm path restarting. And then, yeah, I want to see a component. Okay, so so this is in the layout. Import PostHog like this. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to go ahead and go back here and let's just see if that was the missing point. I mean, I didn't, oops, I didn't pull this in from, I didn't pull this in through npm or anything in my project. I'm just bringing it in from the CDN with the script tag, but let's go ahead and do that. And then if I come back to localhost, oops, I'm getting an error. So yeah, so that's not how I would do it here. So I might have to do the npm one just to see the example. I know maybe I'm being silly. Is there another proper way when you're bringing it in from the CDN to access the PostHog object? Right. Because if I just do that, it is also a problem, an internal error, because the PostHog object. And this is why I say this is probably more of a Svelte thing, because I probably just need to make sure that it's scoped, that I can access it somehow. With but the import is fine. Doing the npm installation and maybe setting it up this way instead. Yeah, feature flags is another thing I really want to get set up. I do like the idea of events. I know I made it sound like I was just about to wrap up, and then I kind of re-engaged because I'm going to keep playing around with this quite a bit. This might just be filtering out dev ones too. I mean, it would be sensible if it did. But yeah, I guess that was the thing I was curious about, was what other events, like, rather than page views scrollable, right? Like someone going to the end of a page is much more interesting to me in terms of like an engagement score. Anyways, I am going to stop this session. Thank you for exploring PostHog with me. I'm going to continue playing with it a little bit. I anticipate at some point I am going to have other content that's maybe a little bit more concise version of, here's what the onboarding experience is, and also what I learned from using it in the first week or so. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. I actually have 2 more shows this week. Because there were just my schedule allowed and I had missed the last few weeks. So check back tomorrow. I think it's just a UI kit I'm experimenting with. It was on my list to try out to evaluate for Svelte components. So look for that one. It's Skeleton UI is what I'll be looking at. And then after that, the last one this week. So yeah, tomorrow is Skeleton UI, which I've never used before. And then similar to PostHog, I've never actually tried Launch Darkly. I've been aware of them for years, just never gave it a try. So that might be a very interesting counterpoint to what I just experienced here with this application. So subscribe, please, or something. That'll make me feel loved and appreciated and validate my self-worth. So thank you. Have a good one. Bye.